Buckle up everyone, The Matrix 4 Resurrections is one bumpy and confusing ride, full of meta-narrative, faulty programming, and destiny. In this video, I will be tackling some of the questions you may have had when watching this film, each of which I have listed in the description below with timestamps for your reference. Be warned, this video is entirely spoilers, but before we start, please consider subscribing to help support this channel so we can keep making videos like this. What happened to Neo and Trinity after they supposedly died in The Matrix 3? This question is answered by the analyst after he traps Neo and Trinity in his version of bullet time. He explains that after Neo helped the machines defeat Smith and almost died, the analyst resurrected him, i.e. saved him from death, in order to analyze his role as the One, or as he calls him, the anomaly of anomalies. After a series of unsuccessful attempts at putting Neo back inside the Matrix, the analyst also resurrects Trinity, discovering that individually they are harmless, but together they become self-aware and can escape the Matrix. He also figures out that humans produce the most energy when juggling the feelings of hope and fear. As a reminder, human energy is what powers the machines, and extracting this energy is the purpose of the Matrix and the pods connecting humans to it. The analyst develops lives for Neo and Trinity inside the Matrix, which bring them close enough to generate good amounts of energy without risking triggering them once again. He gives Trinity a husband, 2 kids, a job fixing motorcycles, and a new name, Tiffany. On the other hand, the analyst decides to give Neo a hilariously meta job. Back as Thomas Anderson, he is a video game designer inside the Matrix who develops 3 award-winning games for Warner Brothers based on his visions, which are actually flashbacks from the previous 3 films. Furthermore, the analyst attempts to hide Neo and Trinity's identity by using a feedback system called semblance. This is used by the pods that the humans are trapped in order to create a DSI, or digital self-image, which causes the people inside the Matrix to be able to see themselves accurately represented in reflections. Bugs explains to Neo that his DSI has been altered, and indeed there are several moments in the film where we see that Neo and Trinity's reflections do not look like them. The analyst also puts himself inside the Matrix as a therapist who helps Neo explain his visions without becoming suspicious. He also uses it as an opportunity to prescribe Neo the iconic blue pills that help keep him and his powers in check. It's likely that Trinity also sees the analyst as a therapist inside the Matrix, as she mentions needing more therapy when Neo and Trinity are having a coffee date. What version of the Matrix are they in, and how is it different from the previous version? In The Matrix 4, we are dealing with the 7th official version of the Matrix, not including the 2 prototype versions that the architect mentions in The Matrix Reloaded. In the previous version of the Matrix, AI bots called agents were used to keep the order and make sure that the humans aren't doing anything suspicious. In this version, the analyst has also added handlers to the population, who look and sound like normal humans. These include Trinity's entire family and one of her employees, as well as basically the entirety of Neo's game development team. Interestingly, one of these handlers, Jude, is directly responsible for introducing Trinity and Neo to each other in the cafe. Now, this may have been an order given by the analyst in order to increase energy output or show off to his suits. Alternatively, it could indicate that Jude has the potential of freeing himself from the Matrix like Morpheus and Smith do. This second option is hinted at during his fanboy speech about the Matrix games, where he asks Neo, "Are we all just algorithms doing what we're supposed to be doing, or can we escape our programming?" Another security feature added to the Matrix is the use of swarms, humans who are put under the control of the machines and get turned into weapons. This is seen used in the Japanese Shinkansen and in the finale when Neo and Trinity are trying to escape. Finally, the analyst has created a version of bullet time that he can control, making everyone else go slower but himself, and it also appears that he can use it to rewind events. What is a purge and which characters were affected? After Neo awakens from the Matrix, Bugs explains that the Oracle he knew before disappeared during a purge to remove faulty programming before the latest version of the Matrix was uploaded. This appears to translate to AI characters who have been reset, such as Morpheus, Smith, the Oracle, the Exiles, and potentially the Keymaker, because Morpheus mentions questioning why there was never anyone in the key shop. The Oracle doesn't appear exactly as she was. Instead, Sati, the little girl we meet earlier in the series with her parents, takes on a similar role. She helps the humans in the real world develop a blossoming society. She also goes inside the Matrix to keep an eye on Neo whilst working in a ramen shop that he visits. It also appears that some of the Exiles escaped the purge, including the Frenchman, whose crime syndicate paradise was discovered and destroyed after Neo's rebellion. The purge is also a great excuse for why old characters come back and look different, but it appears that their coding still remains faulty, as they ultimately still become self-aware as before. This is where the Matrix 4 starts to feel like a copy of the first Matrix, with the same cause and effect actions being taken. This is most evident with Morpheus, who notices the code in a reflection that he sees in his bathroom mirror and goes on to help Bugs find Neo. It's also true of Smith, who is triggered when he sees a gun on the floor and picks it up, realizing his true potential or true self. He helps Neo and Trinity escape at the end, which is different from the first film, but still ultimately about preserving himself and making sure that he doesn't get purged again. What is a modal and how does Neo use it to escape? A modal, as Bugs eloquently explains to Morpheus, is a simulation used to evolve programs. Neo, being Neo despite the analyst's therapy, still has some belief in his visions, and he creates a modal inside his Matrix game in order to find Morpheus, who he figures is the key to understanding his visions, based on his memory of the previous Morpheus. Neo's use of old Matrix code is what prompts Bugs and Seek to investigate, and it's their voices we hear during the opening credits, hacking and going in to that modal. Bugs and Morpheus's rushed escape at the end prompts an alert on Neo's computer called a perimeter breach, but when he goes to investigate, he's interrupted by two of his handlers, and Jude notices that he's using this old code. He likely reports this, and that is why the modal file is missing when Neo tries to access it later on. To further distract Neo from the modal, the analyst likely prompts Smith to turn Neo's attention to creating a fourth Matrix game. This also leads to an episode, causing him to be back in the therapy chair and for more blue pills to be prescribed. How many years have passed since the previous film? Bugs gives us a timeline of the events, saying that over 60 years have passed since Neo and Trinity flew to the Machine Cities and supposedly died. We meet General Niobe, leader of the real-world humans, and she was one of the freedom fighters from Matrix 3, having aged appropriately for this timeline. But it appears that Neo and Trinity have aged slower inside the resurrection pods, with Neo guessing that only about 20 years must have passed. What happened to Zion and the freedom fighters after the Matrix 3? Many hopeful things have happened outside of the Matrix in the real world since the last film, most importantly of which is the mixing and collaboration between machines and humans, paving the way for the creation of a better version of Zion, called Io. Following Neo's sacrifice, and with OG Morpheus as an example, other machines, or Synthians as they like to be called, went to go live with and help the humans. These include the machines that help Neo escape his pod, Sati's fancy butterfly, as well as programs such as the Digitologist, who helps them grow strawberries. New Morpheus explains that not all seek to control, just as not all wish to be free. Essentially, what he is saying is just as there are humans who would prefer to live inside the Matrix given the choice, so are there machines that would prefer a different career path to farming human energy. General Niobe also adds that at one point, machines were fighting other machines due to a power shortage. This is probably the reason why some of them decided to join the humans instead, and very likely the reason why the analyst was given permission to resurrect Neo and Trinity in order to create a more efficient method of producing energy, thereby preventing further machine versus machine wars. The union between machines and humans has also led to an advancement in technology. Both programs of Morpheus and the Digitologist appear as physical bodies in the real world, in the form of an exomorphic particle codex using paramagnetic oscillation. Simply put, it looks to be some kind of collection of magnets controlled by code. Other advancements include fancy new lighting that is installed at the top of the city to mimic sunlight and create clouds, as well as a rock wall that hides the entrance to the city. Bugs also mentions that phone boxes are no longer necessary to create portals, and Sati's bypass method when saving Trinity's body is also technology we have not seen before. Last but not least, there is a generation of humans that have never been inside the Matrix. We meet a few of these in Bugs' crew, Seek and Elster, the former whose parents met and fell in love after escaping the Matrix, and the latter being the granddaughter of Captain Roland, who we've met in the series before. What happens at the end of the film, and what does it mean? The finale of the film is the mission to rescue Trinity, with the team following Sati's carefully laid out plan to rescue her body whilst Neo goes inside the Matrix to distract the analyst and persuade Trinity to leave the Matrix. The only thing I can't explain the necessity of is the use of Bugs' brain as a bypass when transferring Trinity from enemy plug to friendly plug. I don't understand why Bugs was needed, so if you have any theories, please put them in the comment section below. After the daring motorcycle escape, dodging bullets, bodies, and helicopters, Neo and Trinity make it to the roof of a skyscraper, and in a final ride-or-die moment, they both leap from the building, discovering that though Neo might have lost his ability to fly, Trinity has learned how to. She whisks them both away and they escape the Matrix once again. The final scene shows our all-powerful, leather-clad couple returning to the Matrix to speak to the analyst. Trinity kicks his butt, thanks him for saving their lives, and explains that they are now going to redesign the Matrix. They don't give us many details about what this redesign entails, but I suspect that they're looking to create a more humane version of the Matrix, going back to what Morpheus said about not all humans wanting to be free and not all machines wanting to control. With this in mind, I think the plan for the future is one of peace, to allow both humans and machines to make the decision of whether they want to live inside the Matrix or outside of it. Now, if the ending you actually wanted answers about is the end of the film is in the post-credit scene, then, to my knowledge, it serves no greater purpose than to use the game development team to present a satirical analysis of the media industry and the age-old problem of how to entertain people, with the solution, of course, being cat videos. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more videos, and comment with your thoughts on the topic. What was your favorite part of The Matrix 4? For more film content, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Letterboxd, and TikTok. Links in the description. Otherwise, this has been Tea Break Film Reviews. My name's Michelle, and I hope you have a great day.